Hello everyone, welcome again to another thought for the day. And the day in question is Wednesday the 21st of July. I hope you're all keeping safe, keeping well and enjoying the warm weather. Now, I want to talk for a few moments today about the English language, the use of the English language, the peculiarities of the English language. Apparently, we don't know this because most of us anyway, we are native speakers. But if you're trying to learn English as a foreign language, it can be quite difficult. It's a tricky language for all sorts of reasons, which makes it all the more commendable when people who are from different countries do master the English language. I remember a number of years ago on holiday, meeting somebody and chatting away in English, and I just happened to ask him, the chap I was talking to, I said, "Which part of England do you come from?" And he actually said Sweden. So he had mastered the English language so easily and so well that he was able to pass himself off to me anyway as an Englishman. But I digress. Peculiarities of the English language. Now you're going to have to bear with me until you see where I'm going with all this. It's a circuitous route, but I'll get to a spiritual application if you just give me some time and remain patient. Okay. And just before I do start, another thing, the Lord did a thoroughly good job when he confused all the languages at the Tower of Babel. The most important verb in any language is always the verb to be. I am, you are, he, she, or it is, we are, you are, they are. It is the most important and most often used verb. And every language, certainly that I've come across, the verb to be is one of the most irregular verbs that you'll ever have to master. So anyway, I mentioned that in passing. Back to English, the peculiarities of the English language. What I want to speak about, first of all, to begin, is, and I have it down here, definition, words that have contradictory or opposite meanings. The one word which can mean two things, basically. Now, I'll give you a few examples of these particular words. The most common and best known of these words is the word cleave. Now, when you think of that verb, to cleave, you can imagine somebody cleaving some meat or cleaving a bone with a meat cleaver. Okay, so it means to cut asunder, to cut in two with a meat cleaver or something equivalent. But cleave can also mean the exact opposite. Instead of separating a joint of meat, it can actually mean to join and to stick together. Hence the biblical term, a man shall cleave to his wife, leaving his father and mother behind, and so forth. So cleave, although perhaps a rather old-fashioned word, can mean the opposite things contained in the same meaning of the same word. Okay, there's a few others. Fast is another one. To fast, if you run fast, you go as quickly as you can. If the sergeant major shouts out to his men, "Stand fast," you've got to stand to attention, or you've got to stand still. So there's the word fast being used in two different ways. To move quickly or to stand still. Both meanings conveyed depending on the context of the word you're using. A few others, we have the word rock. We can use that in the term in the sense that something remains rock solid. It doesn't move, and yet you can sit in a rocking chair and rock back and forward. So again, depending on the context, rock can mean to move back and forward or to stand steady as a rock. Dust When Patricia comes into my study here, she always says it needs a good dust. And what she means is that I should take the duster and remove the dust from the desk or the surfaces here. But when you think about that word as well, to dust, when Patricia's in the kitchen, she's making a cake or whatever, she might want to dust the top of the cake with flour or whatever. So dust can mean to take dust off or to put dust or flour or whatever back on. Different meanings, exactly the same word. One last one, the verb to screen. You can screen something by putting a screen in front of it so that you can't see what's behind the screen. It's been screened. But if I go for a job for some security firm, I need to be screened. Now that doesn't mean that I need to be hidden. It means the exact opposite. They need to investigate me. They need to screen me to find out and to see as much as they can about me. And I could go on. Okay. Now, I'm going to move from there to Morse code. I told you, you've got to just stay with me here. Not a lot of people know or even remember what Morse code is. I do. I remember what Morse code was used for. I didn't know Morse code. I suppose like a lot of people, the only thing I ever knew was SOS, ... the emergency signal. Pardon me. So that's the Morse code that I knew. Now, we all know what SOS stands for. It was a distress signal sent out usually from ships, and the ship had got into trouble, the ship was sinking, whatever, and the message was sent out, SOS, save our souls. Okay? I'm not so sure that you would even be able to use that terminology anymore. I'm sure if we still had it by now, there would be an objection to using the word souls. People don't believe anymore that we have souls. So why should we say save our souls? Why shouldn't we just say save ourselves or something else like that? But anyway, I digress. Souls to be saved. Now, when that SOS signal went out, people wanted saved. Now, all they meant by that was that they wanted to be physically saved. They didn't want to drown in the sea. They wanted to be physically saved so that they could live on and die peacefully or quietly long into the future in their old age. That's what they meant. Now, when we come along as Christians, we take the same word, save, but we use it in a different sense. You see, I told you I would get there eventually. When we say somebody needs saved, we don't usually mean that in the physical sense. We mean it in the spiritual sense. It's good for people to be saved physically, especially if they haven't found the Lord, and they will have more time, more opportunity to find Him. But what we want to do is see people saved spiritually so that they will enter into everlasting life and they won't have that death to fear nearly so much as other people who don't take this into consideration. On a sinking ship, there's a realization that we need to be saved, especially if there's not enough lifeboats, especially if we can't swim. There's a realization that as the ship goes down, we need to be saved. Friends, can I just tell you that people are living in a world which is sinking. They just don't realize it. So they don't realize that they need to be saved. Saved in the sense that we mean. So it's up to us to do the job. We have to alert them to the fact that they need to be saved. And we've got to tell them that that word can mean two different things, the same word. It can mean to be saved physically from a catastrophe. it can also mean, more importantly, to be saved spiritually, to enter into God's kingdom and to be with Him forevermore. That's the most important usage of the word save. It's the one which Christians use. It's the one which everybody used to be familiar with. Sadly, not so much nowadays. So, as I said, we've got to keep the flag flying and use the word saved and saving people in its most wonderful and useful sense. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that little wander through the English language. If you come across any more of those words that I haven't mentioned, by all means let me know. It just, well, it interests me, trivia like that. Perhaps you have never thought about it. In that case, there's your thought for the day. Something to think about. Words which have different meanings, especially the word save and how people need to be saved. Thank you for your attention. As I said at the beginning, keep safe, keep praying, and please allow me to chat to you again soon later on in the week. Until then, till that pleasure comes, bye for now.